Where do I start? I guess it would make sense for me to start from the beginning. On February 9th of this year, you sent me a message on Facebook asking me out, and you were very clear that you had no expectations and maybe just a friendship in mind. We started talking back and forth, and I found you very interesting. I eventually asked you to meet me in Motorheads to hang out. We decided to date. You were supposed to meet me, but you stood me up. You sent me a message the following day apologizing because you had family come in town and you decided to just hang out with them instead of going to meet me. Well, on February 16th, you asked for my phone number. You called me, and for the next 6 hours, I spilled everything about myself to include everything that I had going on during that time. It was the first time I heard your voice. I felt like I could be honest and completely open up with you. On February 19th, it was our first time doing a video message between each other, and it was the first time I got to put a voice and the face together. This all took place while you were up in Ohio visiting you with your family. While at your mom's, somewhere in the conversation I told you I had a way of reading people. You asked me to describe you, so I gave you the God's honest truth, and it actually made you cry. You told me that you let your mom read what I wrote, and she cried as well and followed it with wow. Sometime between February 19th and February 28th, I asked you to go to Daytona with me, even though I had never met you. I can't explain why I felt comfortable asking you, but something about it felt right. Looking back now, it was definitely a connection, fate, or whatever you want to call it, but it was supposed to happen. On February 29th, you and I finally met in person. I remember I was actually nervous. As you were walking down the sidewalk, I walked out of my house and went straight to you, grabbed you, gave you a big hug, and followed with a big kiss. It's the first time in my life that connection that I was feeling actually felt right. We went to Koji and Locust Grove, and then Motorheads, and then back to my house. On May 29th, I drove up to Ohio and surprised you and met your family. I am still in awe about the green grass. I've never been that far from Georgia, but it was definitely worth it, and I would do it again. On June 26th, you broke your knee. I took care of you like I've never taken care of anyone else. I think that time together made us closer. I remember I took you to my mother's house and placed you in the bathtub because you couldn't do it on your own. I then proceeded to wash your hair. You started crying because you said that you never had a man do that before. On August 15th, I gave you a charity ride to help you with your injury. And that followed with another surprise by sneaking all of your family down here, staying with my parents. And I think that everybody got along, and it was definitely a perfect weekend. I'm saying all this because I want you to know that 2 weeks before you came into my life, I did not even want to have a life. I hated everything around me. I felt hopeless, worthless, alone. I was completely depressed. I did not want to get close to anyone, and I did not trust anyone. I believe now that God puts us through the hardest pass we can handle, and the reward at the end is what we're supposed to have. I believe that everything I have had happen to me and the experiences that I have had led me straight to you. You came into my life and picked up my heart where it was broken in shambles, and you single-handedly put it back together. You now hold my heart in your hand. You truly are an angel, and I believe God put us together for a reason. My family loves you, my friends love you, and most importantly for me, my children love you. They look at you as a mother. The way you read to them at night, the way you love on them, the way you spoil them, the way you are with them is more than I could ever have asked for. I have said to you before, I felt like I've known you my whole life. I never really understood that until now, but now I have the answer for why I feel that way. You have always been in my heart and in my dreams, but it took me 34 years to find you. In those 34 years, if I had to do it all over again, the same exact way, to still come to a point of finding you, I would not hesitate for 1 second. For my final dates to list, on October 27th, I called my mother and my father, your mother and your father, your brother, your sister, and I got permission. And on this date, November 22nd, 2020, Amanda Lee, will you make me the luckiest guy in the world and marry me and be my wife forever?